ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Bandai Movie Monster Series Hyper Hobby Magazine mail-away exclusive Godzilla GMK. Released, presumably, at some point in the summer of 2001, the 8-inch Hyper Hobby Magazine variant of Godzilla GMK was only attainable through a mail-away option via said magazine, obviously. This is one of the 3 other variants that exist of Bandai Milky Eye GOJI, one being the theater exclusive, and the other being this crystal toy event exclusive. I can't find a proper name for them. Altogether, there are 4 Godzilla GMK figures from the Bandai Movie Monster Series. Just look at these two together. Oh my god, they look so good. Before I cream myself any further over this little comparison, let's take a look at Hyper Hobby Magazine mail-away exclusive Godzilla GMK's tag. I really want to never say that full thing in one sentence or breath again. So in taking a look at this lovely black and white one-sided tag, we can see Hyper Hobby up here in the corner, the movie name, the brand sticker before they were printed onto the tags, August 21st GMK, I guess that was the DVD release since DVD's right there, and this is just a really cool looking frickin' tag, man. I love the image of Godzilla they have on the front. Don't know what's being said over here aside from Godzilla 2002. And as you can see at the bottom of the tag, we have 2001 Toho Pictures Incorporated, Bandai, a whole bunch of other stuff. And on the back of the tag, we can see a whole bunch of stuff that I personally cannot read. I see 1954, 63, something. And as you can see right here, it says for sale only in Japan. Now, technically, they did make a sale off of me in Japan. It's just the item came to America, so I'm sorry, Bandai. I broke your terms of service. Don't delete my channel, please. Now, since this lovely lad is an exclusive figure, the tag is going to get the double sleeve treatment because we want to take care of the tag as much as we want to take care of the figure. Just look at how nice and protected he is. Now, before we move any further, I'm just letting y'all know I'm covering articulation first today because I really want to focus on the paint and detail on this figure, mostly the paint, so articulation. Okie dokie, we have a swivel at the head. Man, I missed those. We have a swivel at the tail. Man, I missed those too. We can go all the way around at the legs on both sides. Same for the arms on both sides. Articulation's gonna get a solid star. Now let's take a look at this paint because I guess I should start with the basics first. So we're going to get pure white eyes and pure white teeth on both sides of this magnificent meanie. We're going to get some solid reds for the tongue on the inside of the mouth, and I have to admit, the reds on the tongue aren't really applied the best, but the man's got gold glitter bits in his mouth. In short, don't care about the tongue paint, look at the glitter inside of his mouth. There's a lot of it. It's everywhere. Look at that. No matter where you look, there's just so much gold glitter. Oh. And you know what? Now that I've got a light on it, the tongue paint really ain't all that bad. It's more so just on the tip over there. We are going to get some silver paint for the claws, on both sides, of course, yes. And we're going to get that same silver paint on the toenails as well. So now, let's look at these dorsal fins, and oof-ah, my goodness. The dorsal fins have these very dark roots and centers, but the tips of them are all going to be this metallic yellow, gold, whatever the heck you want to call it, and damn do I love how this looks. Kind of reminds me of the whole frosted tip dye job that a lot of people were doing back in the late 90s and early 2000s. But the detail, as you can see, is still there, very much there. The black really brings it out. I do wish these spikes on the back of the neck had a little bit of gold on them, and I do wish the gold continued on throughout the tail, because as you can see, the gold paint really doesn't do that, but the gold glitter bits really do make up for it because they are everywhere. Bandai spared absolutely zero expense when it comes to these golden glitter bits. More on those in a second. Seriously though, the black on gold for the dorsal fins is just magnificent and really aids in that eye catchability. Not a real word, but continuing on. And on this side, we can kind of see that the glitter bits somewhat favored this side of the dorsal fins as compared to the other. Granted, yes, they still have them, but on this side, there's just so much more going on. And as you can see on this dorsal fin over here, and I'm sure you've seen this throughout the video thus far, not everything on this figure is black or gold. Yes, there are some clear translucent bits. Now, I'm not going to get into the sciences of how they did this because, to be completely honest, I don't know how they did this. My first initial assumption was that they made a translucent vinyl figure, painted it on the inside, and that was it. But then I did this. I took the tail off, and, you know, you can still see a lot of the glitter bits over here, but once you look on the inside, it is absolutely solid. Now, shining a light in there, you can see that there really isn't too much going on, and it's weird. I really don't know how they went about doing this, but however they did it, it is still impressive. We got the same song and dance on the inside of the body over here. It's mostly solid, but then you look at the plugs for the dorsal fins and the two legs, you can see that there are glitter bits in there. So how in the heck did they do this? And what is this sticker meant for? No, I'm not leading up to this crazy crescendo of here's how they did it, because I genuinely don't know how they did it. This is different from the Bandai America Fusion series figures, and I just would really like to know how they did this. I don't know if it's overly simple or if I'm overthinking it, but please, if you know how they did this, let me know. Now, as you can see, the ring around Godzilla's butt over here still has all of that black and all of those little glitter bits in there. And just looking at how this was done up over here, it's possible that they just made a translucent vinyl figure with the glitter already in it, and then on the inside of the figure, they just applied a black undertone to it. That way, it just appears like they painted it on the inside. And then you have something like this on the hands where it looks like the paint didn't reach the fingers, and that is present on both sides of the figure. And looking at the thumb over here, you can see that, yeah, it didn't really take too well. This is also rather apparent on the dorsal fins on the tail over here. You can see that it almost looks like whatever they did stopped midway. I just want to say this isn't me complaining. I'm not taking points off for this. I still love this figure so very much. I just really want to know what they did. And the more I look at this figure, the more that I think that they just tossed in some black paint into the molds for the legs, the arms, the head, and the body, and then just let it dry overnight as it was. Again, could be wrong. That's why I'm asking you lot. Anyway, something that I really love about this figure is the closer that you look at it, the closer you can see that there was just glitter everywhere. And it's not just in the very close up glitter bits that almost looks like they were dotted on. You can see some of it in the background being masked by the vinyl, and it looks so very cool, like they're floating inside of him. Now, yeah, some of these glitter bits do almost look painted on, and for all I know, that might be the case. Although I am assuming that when they made the translucent mold, the glitter was already part of the mold, so either it was really close to the surface or it wasn't. But again, I just love that you can see so many of the glitter bits just floating in the mold and behind the major layers of vinyl over here. It's just so freaking simple. Like, I don't know if figures cost more to make like this, but if this is something that they can do on the norm, I wish they would do a little bit more of it. Not to the point where it gets boring or anything like that, but come on. I feel like you can see more of that sinky effect on these glitter bits on the tail over here, because you'll have like a line of these bright ones and then you'll see some darker ones in the background. Right here is a great example. We've got bright, 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 and then we have this fadey one over here, and I just really like how that looks. I'm a simple man, and I find that very cool and very, very interesting. And now we're at the tip of the tail. And I think over here at the tip of the tail is where my theory might be the most apparent, as it really does just look like a hollow, translucent mold with black paint sitting inside of it. At least at one point. Clearly it's all dried and sealed and all that other good stuff now. Yeah, please, if anybody can properly culture me on how they did this, let me know, please. I am seriously just over the moon with how this figure came out. And again, I wish Bandai would put exclusives like this thing out a little bit more frequently. Now really think about it. Imagine seeing an event exclusive, like a Godzilla Day event exclusive figure that looks as cool as this. Glitter, paint, translucent figure. Like, dude, give me more of this. Give me a Shin Godzilla that looks like this with purple glitter instead. I'd buy that. Many people would. Come on, Bandai. Take this area up here on Godzilla's very mean brow. You see how it's like that layer of translucent clear vinyl and then just that big smudge of black paint? I love how that friggin' looks. And I love that you can kind of see a little bit of that happening on the bottom of his chin over here and even in his teeth. I mean, just look at that, dude. That's friggin' cool. And even though we could say that the paint failed to get all the way up into the fingers over here, this is still just another cool looking bit over here. I really don't mind it because this is one of those mistakes that just looks cool. Now, I perfectly understand if people don't see eye to eye with me on that, but I assure you this is not new figure goggles or anything like that. I really just can't get enough of it. And then you look at an area like the foot over here where you can tell that the paint absolutely made it all the way through, at least until we get to the claws on his toes over here. This is a much better shot, and look at that. That is just cool. This makes looking at the bottom of Godzilla's feet a cool thing. You know, for people who don't have a thing for giant monster feet. Every time I look at this thing, I just find something new to appreciate about it. And I really am just such a sucker for seeing how different it took to different parts of the body. I am. And again, this glitter is absolutely everywhere. There is not a single area that is without the little glitter bits. And again, I friggin' love that. Bottoms of the hands, bottoms of the feet, inside of the mouth, inside the head, even some on top of the teeth over here. And even though a majority of this figure is not fully translucent due to the paint on the inside, it is nice to see some areas pretty translucent, even if it's just for a small section. Like, even though the paint didn't take to every nook and cranny of the dorsal fins, it is really cool to see the dorsal fins catch light like this, especially when coming from behind the dorsal fins. The goldish yellow especially really does shine. I especially like how it looks on this one because you can just see the clump of black paint behind the gold paint. Really cool looking stuff. All right, I'm done blinding you guys with that little LED light. I really like the paint and I love the glitter. I love how they went about making this figure look and feel like a special exclusive. So I am going to give paint a solid star. I'm not going to grade detail just yet because I kind of went a little bit off the beaten path with talking about the paint because I've had this thing for a couple of days and I can't stop talking about the paint, so let's just move on to detail. Now, like many Bandai Movie Monster Series figures that have been given the translucent treatment, detail really doesn't take any form of a hit here. That is especially apparent with the head. All the bumps and grooves and scales of Godzilla GMK are fully in effect here. I love how pronounced his brows are, as well as his nose, his lips, even his eyes. I love how they just bulge on out there. And again, taking a look at his torso, I love that you can see this little line over here, his little beer belly, his little GOJI titties. All of the little and less obvious details are still here. They didn't go anywhere. Sure, some of the details, like on the fingers over here, are a little bit harder to figure out, especially since the black paint didn't reach it all the way. But again, still there. The details on the side of Godzilla's foot still remain, same with the toenails. The beautiful line work on the tail is still there, looking absolutely fantastic. And if you look really hard on these dorsal fins, even the clear ones, you can see some details. But again, this just looks so friggin' good! Oh. Almost done, I swear. Look at the back of Godzilla's head over here. Glittery, detail, you can see and feel. It's cool, it's impressive, and it's so very hard for me to even attempt to dislike this thing. Look at the glitter bits in the kneecaps. Look at the glitter bits in his crotch. Look at the glitter bits in his chin. Look at the detail on his lower jaw and chin and lower jaw. Okay, I think I've proven my point. Detail is going to get a solid star. 3 solid stars. This thing is totally friggin' worth it. But I'm not done just yet. We still have to do a little comparison first. Now, I, for the life of me, don't know why this guy is appearing taller than the original, but it's something that's happening. Maybe it's just with the legs. Let me try moving the legs down a little bit. No, he's still coming out a tad taller. Maybe if I move them a little bit more. No, that's not it. Okay, so for whatever reason, the Hyper Hobby magazine version's a wee bit taller. Don't know why, but he is. But just look at the two contrasting things going on here. The original is obviously meant to be more movie accurate, but when looking at this thing, oh my god, it's crazy how much they contrast with one another. I mean, it's really not that crazy. I'm just kind of having like a moment right now. But just experiencing this sight in front of my eyes behind this camera for the first time, I'm just eating this up, man. I really cannot get over it. And is it just me, or is Hyper Hobby GMK's eyes bigger? Standard GMK? Hyper Hobby GMK? Yeah, you know, maybe a little bit. Still not fully understanding why Hyper Hobby GMK GOJI is coming out taller, but I really don't care. being able to get an eyeful of both of these two figures next to one another is more than enough for me. And the more that I look at the standard Movie Monster Series GMK, the more I think I really need to remake his review. I mean, it was gonna happen eventually. Moving on. Size comparison time. Small, medium, large, related. A long sought after addition to my collection finally here and with such pizzazz. GMK as a movie and a line of redesigns are some of my absolute favorites for each and every single one of the characters present. And to finally have this vinyl avatar of death and destruction in my hands, man, it's like winning an Oscar, minus the slap. Seriously, this has me addicted to the gold glitter bits. I wish Bandai would do more of these. This is easily one of my favorite vinyl figure purchases that I've made in a while. Yeah, the Godzilla collection stuff comes very, very close, but GMK is very close to my heart, both in terms of design and its movie, soundtrack, characters, the whole 9 yards. And to finally have this figure, a figure that I kind of just put in my head that I'm just never going to get because I didn't want to spend however much money he was going for back in the day or now, which really might not be that much. But anyway, that's enough out of me. I have been ShinRobjira. This has been the Bandai Movie Monster Series Hyper Hobby Magazine mail-away exclusive Godzilla GMK figure. And until we meet again, I will see you all then and there. No idea what I'm doing, but I imagine I'm doing something. And I apologize if I went a little off the beaten path talking about this thing, because I really just can't get enough of it. Social media, Patreon, the whole 9 yards. Check it all out. Linked in the description below. See you next time. Have a lovely weekend. Peace.